I gotta get my notes ready. All right.
Not very hard for her.
Yeah,
Oh,
we're live. What's going on, world? Hey there, what do you say there? It's the green team being joined by a slew of people today.
Oh my
I am Justin. This is Diana. Introduce yourselves.
I'll jump in here. I'm Erin from season 28.
What's going on?
We're happy to have you.
James Earl is in the house.
James Earl's here too. Sorry, I was getting distracted by a little bit.
And joining us to recap this whole episode is
Carissa from the Cheerleaders, season 27.
4 members from the season 27 family, and Erin joining us from the current season. Erin.
I'm representing the new kids on the block.
Y'all are representing from the get-go, and I love it.
Yes.
Thank you so much, all of you, for taking the time out to join us. This is really cool. We're really excited. This is only the second live episode we're ever doing. And
there's like 30 people on it.
Hey, I think that's impressive.
I think so too.
Yeah, we're having a lot of fun. We're having a lot of fun here. So, all right, season 28, episode 2 starts off with some craziness. But before we get to that, let's go back to season 28, episode 1. The biggest question that we have for you, Erin, I know you want to straighten this out from the beginning, so let's do it right from the get-go. Why were you guys talking about taking a penalty on the first episode? This is the biggest scare that every fan had.
I'm kind of glad we did it, honestly, because people are really talking about it, and there are a lot of theories out there. And I watched you guys last week. I was so impressed, by the way. I was telling James Earl, like, your hypothesis about like what was happening behind the scenes, a lot of it was really accurate. So with this puzzle on this roadblock, and Diana was very adamant about being upset with me.
Sorry.
She was
I'm sorry.
This is not the Amazing Race America. This is Amazing Race Canada. Okay, here's my thought process.
All right.
We're down in this cave. I was actually working with Kurt for the first probably 20 minutes we were down there. You didn't see that, but there were 2 masks that we got in our sandbox. One was blue and one was white. Through, like you guys probably know, a really crazy game of telephone down there. Jessica and a couple of other teams were saying, the blue set's not getting approved, the blue set doesn't work. So I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to waste my time on the blue set. So I was working on the white set. Kurt and I realized that there were duplicate pieces. We were both kind of comparing pieces. I was looking at his pieces. He was looking at mine. Producers were like, you guys can't swap pieces, because we thought.
That was my question.
Yeah.
That was my question. I was like, maybe the trick is like they have to work together and like just swap pieces, and between 2 people you could get 2 masks done, but
no, you had to use your own pieces. But by the time we had that conversation with the producer, we had already been like, our hands had been in each other's pieces. And I really think that Kurt accidentally grabbed one piece. I can tell you it was this jaw of that mask, because I know that I had it, and all of a sudden it was gone and I couldn't find it. And I looked on the ground, and I went back and dug in the sandbox, because, you know, you think you're absolutely insane by that point. You think maybe an alien had come down into the cave and stole it. Who knows, you know? And but I actually, after really getting out of there and thinking about it, I think Kurt might have accidentally grabbed it. So in my mind, I don't have a way out of there. The blue set doesn't work. They've already told me. I don't have the piece. I'm not going to be able to get out. There's no other way.
Right.
And Sherry was struggling for a long time, and I kind of thought, I was like, well, maybe she dropped her piece in the cave. And if you had, I'm going to tell you, those pieces were the same color as the sand. It was dark down there. It was like impossible. So I thought, you know what? The only way I'm going to get out of here is if we foot race out of here. And I kind of have to convince Sherry to do it, because I'm not going to get out. Otherwise, I'm going to be last. And, you know, she was digging for a while. I didn't know if she just didn't have her piece, couldn't have found her piece in her sandbox. So that's kind of where my head was at. It was, my dad called me. He was so pissed. I can't believe you would give up, you know. And of course, the juxtaposition of Jocelyn being like, Erin will never give up.
Oh,
Like,
didn't the editing, and it's like, and then you're like, should we just get a penalty? I love that. I love that editing on that.
I actually was kind of disappointed that they didn't show more of my frantic puzzle piece looking in the cave because it was pretty insane. But I guess there wasn't enough time for that.
Yeah.
And, the drama was in the penalty anyway, so they got that in the episode. So that's kind of what happened.
I do like that you're playing strategy though the whole time. Like in your head, you're like, "Well, I can't get out of here. So if Sherry gets this and leaves, I'm out of luck. So let me convince her to run with me."
I had no idea about that. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
That makes sense. All right, you're off the hook.
You're kind of off the hook. Almost.
Almost.
If there's not a bunch leg, you're 4 hours behind every other team next leg, so you're gone anyway.
No. And knowing what we did in the next leg, it would have been nearly impossible to catch up. So I'm thankful that happened the way that it did, and thank God that blue. That finally, I was like, you know what? I'll try the blue set. Maybe, just maybe they'll approve it, just because they feel sorry for me.
Mm-hmm.
So,
A lot of times they will. You'll be surprised.
I have seen that happen.
just do a lot of begging and crying and.
Amigo.
Oh,
Yeah, it worked. But I saw on the upcoming episode there's another cave, and I remember I had messaged you and you were like, "Oh yeah, well there's gonna be more caves," and I was like, "What?" And then I saw the next one looks rough for you.
Guys, oh my gosh, honestly,
I'm like nervous watching it. I have like anxiety.
Well, luckily, look, I got out alive. I'm here, so that's the positive. But that was the darkest moment for me on the race, going down into that cave. You guys will see it play out, but
I know you can't talk too much about that, but there is one more thing I want to talk to you about.
Okay.
There's a traumatic experience that happened when you were a child.
Yes.
And you can't have fish sticks, or what's going on? You can't problems with fish.
So you guys have probably heard this. I don't know if you've been on any of my social media, but I made a post about it. I'll show you a photo right now. But when I was a kid, I was at the beach.
You have a picture?
Yeah, I saw it on Facebook.
My dad documented it.
No,
so we could have
you're
it.
kidding me.
But I'm like freaking out because I feel something flapping in my bathing suit. So I run out of the water and I'm like, "Mom, there's something in my swimsuit." She looks and she doesn't see anything. And then she's like, "You're fine, you're crazy." And so I went back into the ocean again, and that thing started flapping again as soon as I hit the water.
That's funny.
And I know, and then I come out like I have major trust issues with my mom now, by the way. So,
I thought you were going to say with fish, that too.
yeah, that too. Yeah.
And fish.
And then she pulls this little fish out of the lining, and my child mind, it was the worst thing that could have ever happened to me. I have the photo right here of my mom.
Oh my God!
This is it, caught on film.
Oh my gosh, that is such a gem. Oh my God, I love that you have that like on hand and ready.
What beach is that?
That's in I think Huntsville Beach in North Carolina. We actually I found it and we put it on my refrigerator just to remind myself to stay humble.
Okay, nobody laugh and nobody say anything. Can you talk for a couple seconds so we can see the picture? Because you showed the picture, we all laughing. I didn't get to see it as good.
Okay, there you go.
Oh my God.
Is that what you want to see? Yeah, that was that. So I don't touch fish. I actually did science projects on fish to hurt them when I was in middle school. It's bad. I don't eat fish. And so Jocelyn handled the fish, and she did a great job. So,
this is really funny because I don't know if from our season, Danielle had a phobia of
YouTube,
ketchup.
the link.
Yeah, ketchup.
The link is up. Come check us out on YouTube. We're live. Come over.
Okay, just then. So one of our classmates had a phobia of ketchup, so that's like an equivalent of a ketchup challenge to her. She probably would have freaked out.
A fear of ketchup.
Definitely. Definitely.
So that would have been like kind of the same.
That's incredible. I also have a fear of belly buttons too, which doesn't really come up on the show, thank God, but I don't like touching them or looking at them or even touching my own. I have a couple of weird phobias out there.
That's right.
But you did 2 or 3 of them on the show.
There's actually a name for that phobia, right? I saw it in your blog post.
Phobia, yeah, something like that.
Wild.
Wow. So within the first 3 episodes, they hit 2 of your 3 biggest fears.
And in one place, we also sleep in a cave. Again, you'll see that probably. So, yeah, it was torture. I was like, Bertram, what is the deal?
He knows how to push them buttons.
He knew. He definitely knew. He looked it up. He's like,
read.
what am I going to do? I'm going to put them in a cave every chance I get.
Definitely read the application. I'm excited to see what you guys think about this second episode, though.
Yeah. I have some great thoughts, and I loved it once again.
I don't know if you're hanging out, but if you're welcome to hang out if you'd like while we recap. But I know I wanted to clear the air and make sure we got everything you wanted to get out. And I really appreciate you using this as a platform. It's awesome.
Yeah, I love you guys. You're one of my favorite seasons. I think Jocelyn and I have both been watching. I've been watching since season 17. So you guys are just such an awesome group, all of you. We were rooting for pretty much everyone. We had some big shoes to fill. So I'm glad that you guys let me hang out with you for a little bit. I'm gonna get off here. I'm gonna watch. Nobody wants to look at me.
Everyone wants to look at you.
Lies.
But if you have any questions,
look at us anymore.
Me and I'll respond.
Awesome.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having us.
Make sure you check out. You check out Erin and the ladies over at Clever. They're on YouTube. You check them out. They do an awesome show, really fun and entertaining. And
she's so cute. I love the two of them. I feel like they remind me of me and Tiffany. Every time they get a clue, they're just so excited to finish something. They're just
I was like, I need just a little bit of that. Just a little bit. I'm so reserved. I'm just like, yay.
You're happy inside, but gotta let it out, Diana.
I know.
That's the way to do it. So we're starting this episode off pretty good. Episode 2 starts off with a nice recap, a very quick intros.
I think it was a full.
Very full. It was a full intro, and then they all had departing times. But before everybody left, there was a little hello, how you doing at the Met when Blair was realizing that she overpacked a little bit. Now,
well, here's the thing. Everyone overpacks when they go on the race. Every single person who has ever raced overpacks. You always ditch stuff along the way. So I can't fault her because you don't know. You have no idea what you're getting into.
I can't fault her, but the blow dryer, there are blow dryers in every hotel. And if not, then you just rough it and you throw some gel.
No, I disagree. Blow dryer gate is it's like taking over the internet, this blow dryer thing. I just feel like that was one of the things I wish that we had, because whenever we were soaking wet, when we were in Africa, when we were in India, everything else, we would have our sneakers in the hand dryers of the airport. And I was like, that was one thing I wish that we kept. Just because of stuff like that, everything was always soaked and things. So people are just thinking of her being vain and stuff like that. But there's other
purposes. That's true. That's true.
And for the hair, obviously. But
and here's the thing too. You have to remember, people think this is a race. You should just not even care and look. But if you look like this homeless muck, taxi drivers aren't going to pick you up.
Yeah.
They're going to let you ride. No, thank you.
It's no matter how sweaty and without sleep you are, we all took the time to put makeup on before you left the airplanes, and at least make sure that you were, your flyaways were tucked up. So
that's
you're
true.
on national TV. You still have time. Yeah. There's always time.
Yeah. So she got a lot of stuff on the internet about that. But she did do a packing video where you could see everything that she packed before she left. And there is a lot of stuff, but they're really small. And hey, she is a beauty blogger, so of course she's going to bring beauty products. So I like Blair. I'm not like a lot of people who find her voice that gets really grating.
I think it's hysterical. It kind of reminds me of Logan and Chris when they would yell at each other. You either thought it was really funny or it was either annoying. To me, that kind of stuff, right, James Earl? It's funny to me. We were doing it before on the phone. We were trying to yell like her.
Daddy!
You sound like her.
Daddy! I love it.
Daddy!
All right. So we're off to Cartagena, Colombia. The first time ever of the Amazing Race U.S. edition, heading to Cartagena.
Did you know how to pronounce this? Or would you have known?
Oh, I had no idea. I would be like, Cartagena, we're going to Cartagena, Colombia.
Whenever there was something to read, Tiffany would throw it at me, and I'm like, Cartagena? I would have said it the same way, so.
The only reason why I knew how to pronounce this, because there was a movie I think it was Romancing the Stone, or maybe it was Jewel of the Nile. I think it was Romancing the Stone, but it was like a movie with Michael Douglas and Kathleen Turner, and they go to Cartagena in Colombia, and they have to recover an emerald. I was like, oh, Cartagena, I know where that is. I know how to say it. It's in a movie.
So before we fly to Cartagena, can we talk about some of the spreads on the times? Did I say it right?
Some of the what?
So, like the departure times. Because we have Matt and Dana who left at 1:42. Tyler and Corey were right on their tails at 1:43, and I don't think we got to appreciate that the first episode. So they were right there.
Really close.
And it would have been closer if their taxi driver didn't have to get out of the car and open the trunk with a key. That was the big thing that slowed them down. So that's
and then on the back end too, Scott and Blair left at 3:04, and Erin and Jocelyn left at 2:45. So that wasn't as close as we thought it was either.
Mm-hmm.
Half hour.
That's why I love seeing
a lot of
in
time.
the beginning. Yeah.
You definitely learned a lot about that.
Oh, sorry.
Go for it.
People in the chat room. Elena said that's how she knew how to say Cartagena. Because they're Romancing the Stone. Yeah.
You're not alone, babe.
That's funny.
And, all right, so we're here at the airport, and this is where I am looking at one of my picks and saying, wow, I picked the wrong two guys. Darius and Cameron, I don't know how they made it to second leg, seeing how they are at the airport. They literally let every single team get a ticket before them.
Yeah, that was really rough to watch. And like I said, you should never be walking on the Amazing Race. Like, I get stressed out when I see someone just casually walking around. Like, it makes me nervous to even look at that. And they're so smart, and you would think, you know, they would be the first ones up, know how to book, but sometimes the book smarts just don't have that assertiveness, and they even said it, they're not assertive. So that's going to be a really, really big problem.
Or even just like playing chess. I mean, you want to have the best pieces, and part of those pieces are getting to the front of the airplane or getting the best airplane. I mean, they could almost change what the race is to make it fit their strengths, and just it's a different outlook. I mean, Justin stressed me out because he was always racing. I mean, like, no matter what it's like, you have to have that mindset. We were clawing over each other every desk we could get because we all wanted closest to the front. I mean,
we were like animals on that plane trying to get the first seat. Like, we would fight over that first seat. Like, there was tomorrow. We would like sit at the gate and all wait. There was no moseying.
Or like
with Darius and Cameron though. The one thing that I don't like, I understand there's troubles, but the frustrating thing and the thing that is unforgivable for them is they left an hour from the pit stop before Scott and Blair. Like a full hour or actually 57 minutes. Let me be fair, 57 minutes. And the fact that they weren't even getting tickets by the time that they were, that's just unforgivable. Like, you're in the airport, what else are you doing?
They really didn't explain it too well, what was going on. They kind of was just walking around. I don't understand.
They looked at every counter, and somebody was at every counter, and instead of standing like behind them or trying to go to another counter, they were just like passively like, and maybe that's just editing, and there was something that we didn't see, but from what we saw, I was not impressed with one of my picks, Darius and Cameron there, and if that's a sign to come.
Editing, because I watched all the behind the scenes also, and it kind of was just the same thing. They were walking around the airport with those extra clips too, so I don't know. They gotta step it up though.
One thing that I did like about this is there was 4 separate flights that were heading out. And
4. That's insane.
I love that.
Because there's still so many teams. I mean, there was still 11 teams at this point, so this is the time that you can do it and really make some separation.
Yeah. So Marty and Hagen also have a hard time getting flights, and I don't know if we saw why that they were having so many issues.
I think it was the ticket man. Sorry, I think it was the ticket man. Like, they went to the ticket person, and he was just sitting, or was it the he or the she? They had the he. No, they had the she, and Scott and Blair had the he. I think their woman was just significantly slower, and it matters. Like, it matters that the dude next to you pumps it in real quick at the last 4 tickets.
And also, I feel like Blair was being very assertive. Like, she's very loud, and she wants it done. So it could have been that too. She was hurrying the person along, so it could have been either thing. She worked it. She got those tickets quicker.
This is
so
one
I
of
don't
those.
know what it was.
This is one of those times where patience is not a virtue. Like
No.
when you no, I can't wait for you.
Exactly. Like, you're going to give me the ticket now before this person.
And then we get to Cartagena and
Cartagena.
Cartagena.
Why are we saying it like that?
I don't know. It just sounds fun to say it.
Oh, gosh.
And it seems like Marty and Hagen have taxi trouble there as well.
Wait, wasn't their flight also delayed?
Yeah,
5 minutes. Yeah, it was a lot. Or
10
10?
minutes.
10 minutes.
Because I want to bring that up later on, but just remember that.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, the flight was delayed 10 minutes, and it didn't really make too much of a difference for this, but I like that there's some separation, even though that there's like 3 teams here, 4 teams here, 5 teams here, and they're all separated by like 40 minutes, I think, from the first flight to.
Well, like, yeah, we can recap the flights as I wrote it down. And the first flight that landed at 8:59, it was Matt and Dana, Tyler and Corey, Bernie and Ashley, and then Kurt and Brody. The second flight, which was at 9:37, was Zach and Rachel, Brittany and Jessica, Sherry and Cole, Erin and Jocelyn, and then Blair and Scott. The third flight, which was supposed to land at 10, was Marty and Hayden, and then you had a fourth flight, which was at 10:30, a whole hour and a half later behind the first flight, which was just Darius and Cameron.
Yeah, but Zach was going to Cuba, though. I was like, listen, don't try and pull a Krista during vacation. So
Wait, where are we?
Yeah, where are we? So I can't even make fun of him on that.
So we were supposed to head to the Vulcan Totuma. It's a volcano that's full of this therapeutic mud, and what you had to do is they asked the question, who's a hot mess, which on this season seems to be a couple teams. So a lot of people just jumped right in on this one.
Oh, yeah.
So you had to dive in, and you had to get your whole body covered in mud. That was something you had to do. So if there's any questions about that, some people are like, why were they doing it? Well, you had to. And then you had to find a satchel, like Indiana Jones. No, you had to find a little pouch that had an emerald.
Hangover.
Hangover. And emeralds are usually green. So we have to keep that in mind for this episode.
I think they're always green.
Because there was some other colored gems that were found during this task.
All right.
Before we start the Roadblock, can I mention one more thing too? After they landed, there's a shot where they had to blur out Tyler's bum.
Yeah.
How essential was that shot? Like, the producers are sitting there, and how essential is that one shot that you have to blur it out?
No, it's so amazing.
Justin's butt crack got blurred out in Argentina when he was squatting down to get the cardboard.
So did your mom, James Earl. Remember we needed our group name?
I blocked that out.
Yeah, I was thinking that. I was like, oh, Denise.
Oh, they should have let that slip. That would have went viral. Like, all the Tyler fans would have been like, oh, I saw Tyler's cheeks.
Oh, my gosh.
I thought it was so cute, though. It was funny.
My cleavage.
I love that stuff.
A little butt cleavage. I like that. So here in this challenge, it didn't seem like that was that very difficult challenge, especially for the first couple teams that were there, because there was a set number of things hidden, and for the people that got there later, the chances were a lot slimmer. So as the later you got there, the harder it was to find. So it just kept getting harder and harder. So the first teams that got there seemed to find it relatively quickly. Like, as somebody was in and the other one was climbing, they would find it before the other one would get there. So it didn't seem like it took too much time for the first, like, 4 or 5 to really grab the emerald and get on out of there.
I do agree with you, but I think this was an exhausting challenge. Like, I felt bad for whoever's doing the roadblock, because there was a lot of stairs to climb both ways. You're, like, getting this thick clay stuff, and then you have to swim out, like, 100 yards to this clue box. Like, Kurt, I think, was the first person to do the roadblock, and he's in pretty good shape. Like, you can look at him and see him in good shape.
He was huffing and puffing.
Well, they said that it wasn't water. It was actually like quicksand. So when you were running towards the clue, you were kind of sinking in. So it wasn't just like, hey, we're running through the water. So they were probably physically exhausted by the time they were done.
And even inside the pit, it looked like they were floating. So you probably had to really struggle.
He said it was 2,000 feet deep, Phil said. Did you hear that?
Yeah. But it just looked like when they went down that, like, they just naturally popped back up. So there was probably something that, I don't know, the science.
Buoyancy?
Yeah, the buoyancy. Thank you. Of the mud. It was probably light or something.
So during this one, there was a couple people that stood out to me. It seems like to me, Corey and Tyler and Corey, whenever they get to anything, they're in it and they're out of it faster than any other team, no matter what it is. And this was the first little crack that we saw in the new green team's armor, where
now you saw Tyler's crack. Second little crack.
and Corey found it very quick, but he didn't secure it, and he got out, got a little excited, and dropped it, and lost a lot of time. So this is the first real, like, whoopsie of the green team, but obviously they bounced back and did very well from this.
How many, do you think that, I don't know if we're jumping ahead, do you think that really affected people later on finding it? Do you think there was a certain amount? Because you know Bertram probably put maybe one more in there.
Yeah, he probably put 12.
They probably put 13. If I was a guess, there was 13 green gems in there.
So that kind of probably did affect it, but I'm sure we'll get to that.
Probably affected Hagen, because, I mean, Hagen
that's what I'm saying. Absolutely.
Definitely.
But people, I don't know if you heard this, people were saying that Corey should have had a penalty for dropping it. Did you read that? A lot of people are saying that.
No, but it's funny because I said to Justin, part of me felt like he should have had to find that one. You know, like,
really?
I mean, okay, so what? I lost it. Then let me just go back up and get another one.
I feel like, though, if it's not the clue, because it would say, like, when we did the carriage, if you damage it, like, you're done. Like, you have to go back, whatever. So it probably did.
No, but like, to me, that should have been part of it. Like, if you find one, that's yours. You have to keep that. Yeah. Just like for the puzzle, I'm sure there was something that said you have to have every, you know, like your 13 puzzle pieces.
Oh, yeah. Like ours did, too, for the slide puzzle. They were like, if you break one piece, you lose one piece. Like, you're done.
Right.
So, that's true.
I mean, I just feel like that would have been fair. Like, all right, I lost the oops. Let me just go find another one. I mean, trust me, he is one of my picks. He's green team. They're the reason why I'm wearing my onesie tonight. So I'm very glad that things worked out for them. But as a fan and as a racer, I feel like they should have had to find it.
Well, there was one thing that somebody did write about, so let me bring it up, and I will go back to when Dana was talking about getting engaged to Matt and being kind of forcing him into the engagement, being engaged for 3 years, and then she does this slick eye roll in the cab. It's kind of almost if you watch it, it's like a foreshadowing of this is going to be the episode when they start to clash. So you start to see it, and they start to little pepper it in, like, okay, she's a little ticked. And like I said in the first episode recap, if there's going to be a spice added on this team, that she's going to be the one to set this one off.
Oof, I love it.
Of course you love it. It's the little Italian girl getting spicy. Why
when she was on that chair later, we'll get to it. Ooh, I was loving her.
So
they did that with Cameron and Darius too. If you notice the foreshadowing, they were like, "No mistakes today, no mistakes," and I'm like, "Here we go."
Yeah, buckle up.
They say that, I'm like, you know where this is going. We know.
Well, for a third one too, we can point out Marty and Hayden had the same edit when they were like, you know, I'm used to being in an airport. I did the tickets all the time, and then I cut to her having difficulties getting the tickets. They love it. Like, you have to watch your words because they will turn them on you.
That's right. It's like I'm athletic, and then you're on the floor. So.
We had a couple athletes on last season. I definitely remember hearing about that. Another thing people talked about was Blair. Daddy, do you have anything I can wear as a bathing suit that isn't a thong? I'm like, come on. I know she was unpacking, getting rid of things, but how heavy is a bathing suit?
She probably didn't know that, like, you don't know what to get rid of. Like, I remember sitting there and not.
Yeah, but it's the first leg. I mean, like if you have 4 pairs of pants, okay, I can get rid of 2. I mean, if you have 1 bathing suit, let me hang on to that. Yeah. It's, you know, like, I could probably fold it up really, really tiny and jam it in my bra cups for all I mean, that's where I put mine.
I feel like a couple people got rid of theirs because I was looking at a lot of girls that some people had sports bras and shorts on. I don't know if one of the models did too, so maybe they were just like, hey, let's get rid of some stuff, and I don't know.
Well, you could wear
I'm pretty sure I saw one of them said you had to wear like a bathing suit or a bathing suit equivalent. Yeah. So I think that's why a lot of them did that.
And would you have been like Rachel and saved her? Would either of you have been so generous, or would you have said, hey, that's going to slow them down?
I would have.
No, I think I would have, because I wouldn't want anybody to ever go out in a thong on national TV
With their dad.
So
Here's the thing, though. In the second lead, I think it's easy to go, yeah, we would have helped them. Let's fast forward and pretend this is lead 9.
Oh, heck no.
Oh, no.
5 teams left. Would you have helped?
No.
Sorry, they'll just blur it out.
Well, it depends if you're trying to get the green team out. I mean, then that's...
If Justin asked me for my bathing suit, no. Wait, can we talk about the bathing suits? We're not going to bring this up. You're not mad?
They didn't have little white ones to wear?
Okay, when I saw them in their own bathing suits, I literally was like, oh, well, no. After all that we went through.
I'm not saying anything because I hear that there is a gold bathing suit that they're all going to have to get in.
I'm waiting to say it.
So I'm not going to judge.
You saw it in the trailer. You saw Sherry and Cole pulling off those itty-bitty gold ones.
I was like, I'm from Staten Island. I like that, so give me that, not the white one.
All right, so another thing that stood out in this task to me was Ashley kicking Dana in the face. I thought that was a good move. I don't know if you saw that.
She was like, ooh, watch.
Oh, yeah.
She got kicked in the face. But relatively, other than Corey dropping it and a couple people mistaking different colored gems for emeralds, there really wasn't too much to this task. What do you guys think in general of this task?
I just thought it was like a really fun thing to watch. I thought visually it was fun. It was entertaining. I think it was definitely a little bit harder than we think it is. Like James Earl was saying, I think it probably took a lot out of them.
I like that.
It's easier to it's easier to watch.
I like that they made him jump in the water afterwards to clean the mud off without. They made it part of the task. Like, here, go get clean now. Run out into the ocean.
see, but I would have rather liked to see another connection with the emerald. Like, if emeralds are in Colombia, all right, you have to find it, and now you have to, go to a jeweler, and they're not going to let you really do it, or like weigh it and measure it, or carve it out. Just something
like we did with the Peta and like stuff we brought it to the candy store and India and stuff like that.
Like multi-step with what you had to do. Like,
I like that too.
Find it, turn it into a ring or something. Instead of like, it was like in a mud pit and then you swam out and then that's it.
Yeah. Do you know they had to I read somewhere that they put like covers all over the taxis, in the back of the taxi. There was like a tarp over it.
Look, they were marked taxis.
Yeah, they were.
And I think they were marked for a reason. It's because they knew how gross and dirty they were going to be this episode.
Yeah, I think that was a big one. So Brody and Kurt do really well.
Sorry, I'm like, then why would Marty hate him?
I know.
They were marked already. Yeah. I know.
Brody and Kurt.
They were marked for more safety reasons, though. No.
Yeah, but still, if you have a marked taxi, then why not take it with you?
Yeah.
No, yeah, I think it's because there used to be, or there still is a lot of kidnappings in Colombia, and they wanted to be just help with security, probably cheaper with insurance as well, which is, I mean, it's a big deal for the show. I mean, insurance is a lot of money. So Kurt and Brody finished the detours first. Finished the roadblock first, and they head to the detour pop-up or parilla. Looking at pop-up or parilla, pop-up, you have to set up like a canopy on a beach using these wooden poles and like a mesh type of fabric. And a parilla is to cook fish, like 3 fish dishes, traditional style on the beach. It's kind of frying fish on the beach. First glance at it, which one would you have picked, James Earl?
I think Mom and I would have picked pop-up. When I talked to her about the episode, both of us immediately said that one. We just think cooking takes time. Like, you can't make a fish cook quicker, but you can set up a tent quicker. So that's what, like, our mindset was.
What about you, Krista, being short and athletic?
Really? I'm so short and athletic. I'm 5 foot nothing. I absolutely would have done the fish. There's no doubt about it. I think Ashley said she was standing on the chair on her tippy toes and couldn't reach. I'm 5'1", not really, but almost. So, there's no way. We probably couldn't even reach. This cast is huge. They're all so tall.
I would have wanted to do the tent. Which one would you?
Yeah, I would have built.
So tent is where we would have gone, and it seems like the first group of people that got there, all of them went and picked pop-up. Brody and Kurt, Tyler, Corey, Dana, Matt. Bernie and Ashley, and then Zach and Rachel. Read the clue, Zach and Rachel.
Oh, where were they building it?
My teams did not do too well.
There was no like urgency again. It was just like, oh, maybe we just do it right here. Come on!
I have some thoughts about that. We're going to talk about that now because I have some major thoughts about that.
We're talking about this detour, so jump in wherever you want.
First off, I want to say with the detour, I do think it was a limited space detour that they just didn't tell us on TV. Because if you looked, I'm really sure there was only 6 spots for the pop-up and 6 for the Perula, whatever the hell it was. I do think it was limited, so I think that may have played into some of the later people's choices just because there were no spots left. Zach and Rachel were a hot mess in the detour. And the only reason I say that is for 2 reasons, and I hate pretending because Mom and I weren't perfect, and I'll be the first person to admit that. But you did there, and let me make sure I say this right. They got there 5th to this. They got there 5th, and 4 other people are already doing this. So if you're looking 1, 2, 3, 4, they're connecting to make a giant tent. And in your clue, it says connect to make a giant tent. So there is 2 things that should have clued you in. And then you just build it off to the side, and that just didn't make sense to me.
I think they were so frantic. They just were not even looking at their surroundings. And like you said, it was such a small space, it's hard not to look around. But I feel like whenever you get to a task, you kind of have to take it all in and look what's going on before you start and read your clue. It's the number one thing. But
read your clue. So since the first group, the whole first group went to pop-up, we'll talk about pop-up. Do you think the Tyler and Corey method of finding the thickest poles made a difference? They really made an effort to find the thickest pole.
I feel like they're trying to be a little gross right now, and that's not you.
No, they were saying the thick poles, thick pole, thick pole. They were pointing out all of the
thicker.
I didn't know if that played into them finishing faster because they did this faster than anybody.
With thicker poles. I mean, when you have.
Wait, guys, did you see the behind the scenes that Brody and Kurt actually went there first before getting their clue?
Oh no, I didn't see that.
Yeah, so they wasted more time doing that too. Did you see that?
Yeah, they took the cab straight into the place.
Yeah, they did what Darius and Cameron did. So they actually wasted more time. So Corey and Tyler actually blew them away even more than that.
Yeah, every test that they get to, they seem to be getting in and getting out. They're very focused. They work well together. They're best friends. They've been around each other, work together. I don't think they ever get into a serious fight with each other.
No, they're solid. They're a solid team.
Well, here's the thing. I said it all the way back in like November when I saw the live feed. Like those 2 take the time to read all that additional information, and they do it slowly. Like they're not rushed. So like those are people who are focused, and they're on the same wavelength. I don't feel like they're ever going to yell at each other. So that's just like all the things you need. It's like the perfect storm to be a great racer.
Yeah, absolutely. Really quick, Seth in the chat room said Tyler and Corey's completion of the detour was about as quick as Tiffany and Krista owned Passe's French rap song. And I would have to agree with
that. All right, now here we are. You could talk about Dana and Matt, where Dana is now getting a little spicy and
too deep.
And the worst part is she was 100% wrong. But go ahead.
What?
Was she?
She was not wrong.
You can't twist it
the wrong way.
Yeah, she said you can't twist it. Yeah, look, go like this. There it is. I twisted it.
Did we see that on TV though? I don't think we ever saw them twist it.
You don't need to see it. Have you ever dug anything in the sand? Nothing stays in the sand that you can't twist.
Yeah, but that was deep, and that was extreme. Do you know how deep they had to dig that and how thick the mud was? I think they tried to turn it and couldn't. She was right. I think they had to take them out and twist it again. I read one of her comments.
Okay, there you go.
Listen, don't come for us right now.
What is this us? So you're Dana and Matt all the way?
I don't know. No, I love Matt too. I love them both, but I understood where she was. I think she was just in the heat of the moment. They were doing it for hours. They wrote like they were exhausted, you know. Listen, people bicker, Justin.
Thank you. Mr. Aersonic said that the poles on top prevented from twisting, and that's what I said to Justin. Pardon my infographic. But if the pole is like this, right, and you have the other one here, you have to like pick this up, twist it, and then you have to rearrange all these other poles to now go in the opposite direction. So you did have to.
No, because they already had something built that had poles going this way and poles going this way. So instead of hooking it up to the poles going this way, you hook it up to the poles going this way.
There were thinner
Typical
pieces.
men. Typical men.
There were pieces. There were like thinner
Lack of
strips on top.
communication. Lack of height and lack of communication.
Yeah, he's the typical man. He thinks he's right.
I think I'm right. All right. So before doing this one, there was a speed bump for Scott and Blair to help the local fishermen pull in a net. And
Elvis is coming up.
After seeing last year's...
Wait, are you talking about the picture, the speed bump picture?
Oh, I was going to go into the picture,
yeah.
After seeing last year's Tanner and Josh bring back the epic speed bump, I thought they were going to continue with these epic speed bumps. What did you think about this speed bump? It wasn't even something that they had to do alone. They were getting help from local fishermen.
Do I think it was the easiest? No. Do I think it was the hardest? No. But I would have liked to see something that was a little more challenging. I felt like, yeah, of course, like I said, it's definitely harder than what we see, but I just felt like they were getting help from other people. I like it when you have to do something on your own and you don't rely on anyone else.
And somebody else noticed the speed bump sign in the chat.
All right. I don't know if you noticed.
I did.
Here we go. The speed bump sign was made with spray paint, and it's not even the right symbol. What's going on, Amazing Race?
I noticed it too. It was different. But Josh and Tanner didn't even have a speed bump sign.
No, this is like. And here's the thing, like, here's the thing about the speed bump. I just felt like it should have been like either it was a lot harder than they showed on TV, or it was just kind of a meh challenge. And I'm hoping it was the first, because like at one point in time it showed Scott's hands, and his hands were like bleeding during the speed bump, which makes me think there's a little bit more to it that we just didn't get to see on TV.
Well, I know they said they couldn't move the rope at all until the waves come in, so they had to wait for a wave to even pull it in, and they had to find a specific fish. So if the Amazing Race didn't like plant those fish, then they actually had to wait till the net caught one of those fish, which was the catch of the day. And this is where Blair gets into the shrieky Blair mode.
Oh, goodness.
And is really scared to pick up this fish.
She was channeling Erin's fear.
What are fish problems?
I know.
There's a lot of issues with fish. Do either of you have any kind of fish fears that would have come into play in this film?
No, I love fishing.
The only fear I have in life is octopi, so unless we have to deal with that, I'm good.
All right, so on to the frying fish. They seem to do this one relatively without any problems, just a certain time task that it's going to take X amount of time, and you find it. So they do that and move on. And it's going on to parrilla, which is to frying the fish in the style of the Colombian barbecue, beach barbecues. And we find out that here Erin hates fish because the one time when she was a child at bathing camp, she got a fish caught in her bathing suit. And if you were just joining us, she told the story earlier in the broadcast.
That picture is everything.
And she showed us a picture of when she was a child with the fish. And that's earlier in the broadcast. So when we're done, the video will be automatically
with the culprit.
Watch it again.
Oh, and Brittany cut her finger.
Yeah, I think it was Jessica, but it might have been
Brittany.
It was Brittany.
She cut her finger.
No, it was Brittany. It was Brittany.
Okay, yeah. Brittany cuts her finger with the knife, and one thing that I've learned about these two, one, by hanging out with them at the premiere, and two, by interacting with them on social media, is that they are very, very, very sarcastic. So a lot of the times that they're saying things, it's meant in a sarcastic way, and because they're so sarcastic, they say it in a tone that's not very sarcastic, which doesn't make sense.
No, I get it, because I am sarcastic. I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
I got you.
Okay. Because as I'm saying, I'm like, wait, that doesn't make sense, but it kind of.
I think they need time to grow on people. I think that they didn't get a lot of airtime this episode. I think the first episode, maybe the editing wasn't so much in their favor by some of the things that were said. So I think hopefully the next episode we'll get to see them more, and maybe, they'll learn to, the fans will learn to adapt to them more because they really didn't get any airtime right now.
See, I don't even think they got airtime the first episode because they ran middle of the pack both episodes. And
Yeah,
when you
the
run
middle
middle of the
never
pack,
gets it.
the middle doesn't get any airtime.
Yeah, so in the beginning.
So Marty and Hagen get to the clue box, and they decide for some reason to run 2.5 miles to this place.
Well, this is the thing that you see them starting to run, and they ask the local, like, where is this place? And the woman, just does one of these, and they didn't ask, like, the next question, which should be, how far? How long? I mean, we ask that.
¿Cuántos minutos?
Right, all the time. Like, can we walk? I mean, even if, like, you just, yeah, it's that direction, but you don't know how far.
I don't even give them the option of can I walk. ¿Cuántos minutos?
Because
how long?
they always say it. They're like, yeah, not that far. And you're like,
right.
Okay, so you need like a time. Like, no, like how far is it? Because I remember the Copacabana Beach, they were like, yeah, not far, all the way down. And we were running miles. So you it depends on that. They'll tell you, it's all down the block.
Yeah, it's not far for them.
For them, please.
Here's my thoughts about this situation. And I feel like Marty and Hayden had a lot of bad luck building up to this. They had, the lady that didn't get them quick tickets. They had the taxi driver that was really just putt-putting the whole way. And it frazzles you. And once you get frazzled, it's hard to get out of that zone. But if you have a marked taxi or tuk-tuk or boat or whatever you have, it's marked, hold on to that for dear life. Like, just hold on to it. For any future racer out there, unless it's a taxi driver you're having to pay, like, by the minute, like, just keep them with you because you're never going to be wrong. If you hit a bank and they're like, I can't drive past that, that's when you get out and run.
No, unless your clue says to walk on foot, you take the taxi. Yeah. Unless it specifically says walk, you take the taxi. Right, Justin?
Yeah, we know that. And I think from here on out,
how to do it.
I think from here on out, if any other team ever makes this mistake again, especially the end of season 27 and the beginning of season 28, then you're not a real fan. On a side note, something that we found out that we're looking to possibly pursue is, okay, so a bunch of people told us that it is against the law for New York cab drivers to deny taking you somewhere, like literally against the law.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, well,
I said no.
I know. Well, we could file a complaint.
Guys, it's done.
Are we grabbing at straws? I was like,
$1 million.
Maybe we can file a complaint that this guy costed us.
So wait, and then what? Redo the challenge?
No, that just sue New York Cab for
Service cost me $1 million.
He denied it.
Okay.
I'm not never going against the race. I love Amazing Race. I'm talking about New York City cab drivers.
No.
All right, we can relive Justin and Diana's mistakes on a later time.
All right,
That's season 28.
So Marty and Hagen make.
Justin's anniversary state in New York.
I never want to bring it up. Stop bringing it up.
Sorry, I
so
can't.
Marty and Hagen pull a Justin and leave the cab and they run 2.5 miles, which gives Darius and Cameron the time that they need to catch up and eventually pass Marty and Hagen. And
Cam, when you're running, man.
Yeah, it comes to a foot race. I think in the beginning for first and a foot race at the end, we knew it was going to be one of two teams the whole episode, which is fine because there's drama between two teams. And there was a great race for first place with the challenges and the detours.
Definitely.
Teams overcame each other, which you don't get a lot of in the Amazing Race in the past season. So Tyler and Corey pull through. The green team, Team Onesie, that Diana's first round draft pick pulls through with the trip to St. Thomas, and Corey fulfilled his dreams. He's had 3 goals on the Amazing Race: to win a leg, to get a title episode named.
That's a big one.
And to win the Amazing Race. And this,
right.
Yeah, and this leg he got the first place. The next leg they have the title episode. And we don't know if they're gonna win.
And I just want to say they came in second and first, so that's pretty strong for me in my first pick. I just want to call them out and thank them.
And then Kurt and Brody finished in second. Do you guys see a relative? Is it green team versus orange? Like,
so
here's the thing.
Alternate universe.
I know. I was thinking. What were you gonna say, James?
I think it's hard to say, like, I know the colors are the same, but I think it's hard to say Tyler, Corey, or Justin and Diana. I'm just saying.
Stretch.
You're right. I mean,
can I talk
I
about
guess,
one thing in the board right now? Robert Hughes is saying, could Marty and Hayden have taken the other team's cab?
No.
And I think Marty and Hayden got a lot of smack for this, but they couldn't. Like,
Yeah,
you see
people
them
don't
running by that taxi. It's a marked taxi that has their bags in it. That is just off bounds. Like, there's nothing they could have done at that point other than run and get their tag back. So
And
people that are like,
said-
they should have stolen it, they can't. They would have gotten a penalty.
Yeah, people said that, like, oh, the cab driver can remove their bags, but no, they can't
No,
remove
they
the
can't.
bags.
I don't know why they keep saying that, because there was that
It was-
one season where the bags were on the outside, and then remember they were able to take that.
Season
But you can't do
23.
that.
the
You can't
cab
do that
driver.
now.
The cab drivers can take the bags
Yeah, but
out.
not
you
in a
can't-
marked cab.
You
but-
can't
and that's a
ask the
marked
cab drivers to take the bags out.
Mm.
Yeah.
He was like,
And two,
okay.
it's marked.
Huh?
And two, they're marked cabs.
Yeah.
So you're assigned a cab the entire leg.
That was one of the things for us. If we had a marked anything, we always left our bags in. Because it was marked, we felt comfortable, leave our bags in there, it's gone. And we were light.
Mm-hmm.
That's always the way. And it's kill two birds. Nobody can steal it because it has your bags and it's marked. So I don't think they could as well. So you got
Can I talk a few more things about the detour? I looked at my notes and
Absolutely.
forgot. There's a few things I forgot to mention. At one point in time, Kurt was chasing on the judge, being like, "What's wrong? We don't know what's wrong. What's wrong?"
Yeah,
And it reminded me so much of Krista that I loved it.
Do you know what's so funny? Because I was like, can you imagine me and Brody out to dinner just having a conversation? Because we would both just be screaming over each other. Nobody would get a word in, or both of us on the same season. We'd be like dragging the judge back and forth,
Oh
yelling.
my God. And Justin would be like, mi amigo, over here.
Yeah, you wouldn't.
Yeah.
No, but I
And
wrote that down.
also, oh, sorry, go ahead, Diana.
No, go ahead. I mean, I was just agreeing. Like, he said, what's wrong? We don't know what's wrong. Of course you don't know what's wrong. They're not going to tell you what's
I
wrong.
love that.
It's
Tell me
just-
what's wrong.
yeah, we don't know what's wrong.
Show me the other 15%.
But that's
Show
what I
me.
did too. I'm like, well, show me. Where's the 10%? Show me bargaining with the guys in Africa. Like, they're really going to tell me.
One more thought I had too that I thought would have made this lead. First off, the lead was amazing, and I'll recap that when we hit the end. One thing that would have made this lead legendary, and I talked about this with you and Justin and Diana a few recaps ago, is I would love to see a U-turn board at a detour where both
was
detours are at
thinking
the
this-
same
I
location.
was thinking the same thing.
And
Can you
here's the thing,
imagine?
if you put a blind U-turn up, it's gonna get used. And can you imagine like Marty and Hayden versus Cameron and Darius at the end, like racing it out, Marty and Hayden going, we have to get there, we have to get there. Like that would be so much drama
I was
that
thinking
like
the same thing.
producers, like listen to me, like next time you have that at
Those
the same
two
location,
detours.
do it.
Definitely.
Speaking of that, do you think that anybody's going to U-turn? Anyone? Because they all seem so
Nice.
friendly now. When is it going to get
Here's
competitive?
the thing, I think it's been friendly because no one's been eliminated. I think that now people have been at the back where you're almost eliminated. They're going to start feeling the pressure. Because you remember our first lead, people were really nice, and even the beginning of the second lead, people were really nice. But once people start getting eliminated and you feel the pressure, you're like, holy crap, if I
But
am
can
the
I-
last person in the mat, I'm gone.
Yeah, it's like you almost picture yourself clawing over people that are in front of you to get to the top.
Yeah,
But
there was
can
a,
I,
yeah.
Go
There,
ahead.
no, there was a question from Facebook from Michael Jenks. He said, "I've noticed there's been little to no fighting, whether in inner team or between the teams, as the race continues and the stress adds up. Can you guys speak to how you handled the stress with your partners and how it'll grow during the legs?"
I think the more time that you spend with your partner, the stress just naturally kind of gathers on top of that. And like James Earl was saying, that as people are getting eliminated, the stress increases because you don't want to be anywhere near the bottom. And it just, all these stress factors, you're getting closer, which means, okay, we have to be more careful. Everybody's thinking that they have to be more careful. It just, stress on top of stress.
Can I tell you why Tyler and Corey are my number one? Because I was watching a clip from them, and when Blair was non-eliminated, everybody was shouting and so excited and so happy. And yes, it's the first leg, but they were like a little like salty about it. I don't know if you saw it. They were
Yes.
like, okay, the first leg was a love fest, but the second leg, it's time to go. Like, and that was like, they're there to win. It's competition for them. And yes, like, it's cool to be friends with everyone. Like, we all wanted, nobody, like, I remember seeing Adam and Alex go home. I was so upset. But at the same time, it's like, listen, if you're here to win this competition, people gotta go home.
Right.
And when they said that, I was like, they're in it. Like, they're no joke. It's not just a big love fest. Like, this is real.
Yeah, and some of the cool things that you've seen throughout this race, like there was an instance where Bernie was in the cab and he was so excited. Like he's one of the older guys on the race, and he's like, "Going to a new continent. We're going to a new continent." So it's like you think, oh, these guys are young internet stars and they're all giddy, but no, this is a grown man who gets giddy because you're on a race. This is a dream come true for everybody, and you gotta understand that.
The donkeys, they'd be like, "Oh my God, there's donkeys!" I feel like me and Diana would have been doing that.
Animals, my gosh.
Yeah, we'd be like, "Donkeys, stop!" Like,
Yeah,
get in.
Marty's in the cab and she's still making fun, and when they got the slowest cab driver, and they're like, please sir, we're in El Raso, and they get
she said, Hagen said, per favor, please. I'm like, this is insane. They're so cute. Per favor, please.
You see them getting passed by a moped, meow, and it's like, oh my God.
No, I think they said that goats were passing them.
I believe that.
That's so bad.
There's some other notes that I was actually looking at the wrong set of notes for whatever reason, so it wasn't really full notes. There was a 45-minute cab ride, so just from the taxi from the airport to the volcano. 45-minute cab ride, and then from the volcano to the next clue was a 45-minute cab ride pretty much back in the same exact direction right near the airport. So there was a lot of long cab rides in this, which leads to a lot of stress, because when you're taking a cab that long, you don't know if you're going in the wrong direction, you don't know how many teams have passed you, and that's why I wanted to bring that up, because a slow taxi means it doesn't mean much in a 5 or 10 minute ride, but a slow taxi on a 45-minute ride, that could separate you by 15, 20 minutes. So it's a big deal.
Yeah, that's definitely rough to sit through that.
And I want to point that I just did because I wanted to go through and I did all of the timings between things. It was a 2.5 mile run for Hagen and
how much was it?
2.5 miles.
Oh, that's what I thought it was. Yeah, 2.5.
So it was go one way. They ran it at 2.5, do the test at 2.5 miles back. I felt so bad for them.
Here's the thing, too. The fact that they were on the mat with Darius and Cameron tells me that maybe there was a 10-minute separation. So I think the nail in their coffin was not taking that taxi, because if you're thinking 2.5 miles, let's just say they are just excellent sprinters. 2.5 miles is going to take you at least 22 minutes. Let's say they are just working it. 22 minutes both ways.
I'm going to play a crazy what-if game, though. If their flight wasn't delayed by 10 minutes, do you think that has anything to do with anything? Could that
I think it would have been a foot race to the mat.
Well, I asked them a question. I asked them on Twitter, and she said the two things that she thinks cost them was the slow taxi and the slow person at the ticket counter. So that's the two things that they'd look at.
The cab,
not leaving the cab. That was okay. Obviously, that's one that could have done it, but they think that
from the get-go.
The first.
Yeah, but the ticket counter was the reason you took a plane that got delayed 10 minutes.
Yeah, so you got the wrong plane, then it got delayed 10 minutes. So
yeah, it was everything.
Here's the thing, though, and I'm not saying they're wrong.
Right.
But of those three, there's three things we're talking about. We're talking about a plane ride there, a slow taxi driver, and leaving your taxi. 2 of the 3 of those are out of your control. The third one is in your control. So I think the one that is the most at fault, and I'm saying any one of those three changing would have kept them in the race. But the one that you had the most control over is the one that I unfortunately fault you for the most. And I loved them. It broke my heart, this whole episode. Seeing Hayden crying during the roadblock, saying Mom, I can't find it, broke my heart. And then seeing them get so defeated once that other taxi drove by them, that just, it chilled me. I was really rooting for them.
The second that they left their cab and then they ran, and when they got to the beach, I said, Justin, they're not going to have a cab to get back. And once, I'm sure they knew it, once they saw all the cabs there sitting.
They said it. They're like,
Mom, you don't have a cab. I know. Oh, my gosh. And my note was like a heartbroken for Marty and Hagen, because that just, I know how that feels to
So-
know, to pinpoint.
Let me.
Like, you could have overcome the other obstacles, but the one thing, like you said, James Earl, that you have the control over will be the thing that sends you home.
So the pit stop was at the Plaza Boulevard. Tyler and Corey get there first. They win a trip to St. Thomas, which they say 100% they will not be taking together.
So funny.
A little hot honeymoon.
Followed by Kurt and Brody, who were joined on the mat by Bernie and Ashley, so they were really close together, those two. And Dana and Matt had a little hiccup, but still finished strong in fourth, followed by
I love the
Erin.
bird moment too. Sorry to interrupt you. I just want to talk like when Dana was running in and that bird like flew up in her face.
Oh, yeah.
I just love those little nuances.
She had such amazing little things happening, like the little trip and then that, and she had so many funny editing things this episode.
Really quick, somebody has a comment. Daniel asked, do you think that Marty and Hagen could have asked one of the cab drivers to, like, have called their cab and brought it down?
Yes. That would have been an awesome idea.
That's what somebody said.
I can't think that that's against the rules, and I'm trying to like think through everything.
Did
Did
anybody ever do that before?
That's an awesome idea, but there's no reason to be against that.
No.
You're just going to a cab and saying, "Hey, can you call me a cab?"
That's actually really good. I don't ever remember that happening, but I wouldn't even think of that. Yeah.
I would have never thought of that in the moment, but it works.
Yeah.
I guess when you analyze, you can think of that, but I don't think any of us.
No,
do.
like never in the moment do you see
we're
things
like, let's
that
just run
clearly.
and go
Yeah,
get it.
let's yeah.
If you
let me
took
use
the
my
time,
legs.
if you took the time to sit and analyze, but you can't because you're so worried, like that 5 minutes is going to make all the difference.
Yeah, it's different.
So Erin and Jocelyn make it there, and Zach and Rachel, even though they did not read their clue, still finished in sixth, followed by Jess and Britt.
So
Sherry,
close, the three of them.
Yeah, Sherry and Cole, and they were a big group together with Scott and Blair. And then there was the big finish with Darius and Cameron, Marty and Hagen, with Marty and Hagen going home because they decided to let their cab go and had to run 2.5 miles. Very tough to watch.
It was. It reminded me of me in Hong Kong when she was in the water. I was like, girl, I know.
All right. James Earl. Who gets the James Earl seal clap of the episode?
I think the seal clap of the episode goes to Tyler and Corey for me at the Detour. Like, they turned it out. Like, they just ran in there and they came in fourth, left first, and, like, didn't skip a beat.
I can't argue with that. I mean, Corey's height played a very good advantage because if there was two people Tyler's size, they would not have gotten it done.
My onesies.
All right, you got your onesie on,
Yeah.
Diana. Who gets the Diana? I'm gonna put you in.
Uh-oh.
This is going to Darius and Cameron because I don't know where they think they are, and I'm gonna put you in check because that's not you.
I know.
yeah,
I know
okay.
you love that.
It's like almost for them, it's like almost a slap in the face check. Like, wake up.
Yeah, like,
This is the amazing race. You need to be fighting. Yeah, like a check. You need to be fighting every second that you have the opportunity to be on the race to stay ahead in the race and fight. So, check. Sorry, boys. You're dressed in fits.
Darius and Cameron, my pick is in check, and I can't even argue with it. I hear that our very own Krista has something that she wants to
I'm
incorporate.
excited for this.
And it's the Krista. What? Go ahead and
Oh
introduce
my God! I wanted, since James Earl has a seal clap, I wanted to give a hair flip.
And the hair flip is going to go to what? What does it represent? Someone who does it with fashion, with style, with.
No, it's just someone that just slays. I hate saying that word. It's so old.
So last year.
It's so 2015. But it's going to Tyler and Corey because of how how they blew through that detour. And it reminded me of when Ernest and Jen were playing against the cousins in volleyball, and the cousins destroyed them. And it reminded me with Brody and Kurt. And it was like, you can't underestimate the little people. Like, just because you think someone's maybe a little bit smaller than you, is not athletic as you, just look. So.
My superfan move of the episode probably went unnoticed by 99.9% of you, but that's why I'm the superfan. there was a moment on top of the cave, on top of the volcanoes, when people are grabbing the wrong color rocks, and they're not sure if that rock is the right one, if it's green, if it's an emerald. And one of them takes a walk on down the ladder, and the other one is Jocelyn. And Jocelyn is on top, and she's got her extra notes from the clue, the extra notes, and she's looking through the extra notes to see if there's a color on there. You could tell that's what she's looking for because everybody's questioning it. Rather than take that long walk down and find out by the judge if she's right or wrong, she takes out the extra notes. And that little things make all the difference because that task was grueling, and going back down and up would have been hard.
You know what happened? The reason why Dana didn't know what the emerald was she just by accidentally destroyed her extra notes in the mud, so she wasn't able to see. I read that. She wasn't able to see the color. So that could be why, she had to go back down.
So, wow. Jocelyn gets my superfan move of the episode. All right.
Wait, guys, we didn't even talk about this. This is like a huge thing. Did anybody see that Bernie left the models a note at the...
Oh, yeah. This was in bonus footage land. All right, there's a couple things from bonus footage land. And one of them was...
Bonus footage land should be a thing, because this is like... I love the bonus footage.
All right. There it is. Bonus footage land will be right after we finish recapping. We'll talk about some of the stuff in the bonus
I like the land.
It's catchy, no? So, all right, bonus footage. Bernie and Ashley supposedly made a deal with the Jess and Brittany, the Instagram models, that if they finished the roadblock before that the Instagram models got there, that they would leave a clue on how to do things faster, like a tip on how to get it done faster. So they wrote down in a book, the exact same book that we brought on the race, by the way, which is awesome. They ripped out a page. They left it right by the stairs that go up to the emerald.
Under the rock, yeah.
Under a rock. And they showed a second bonus footage of the girls finding that. And I just thought that, hey, there's already some alliances going on here from some teams. And one of the questions that I saw in the chat room was, do you think that people are going to start turning on each other at some point? And the answer is 100% yes. There's $1 million on the line. And when you start getting closer...
get people a little more tired, a little more hungry, and they're going to start turning.
Yeah, halfway through is when it starts. You're getting tired, you're getting anxious, you're getting antsy, people are getting on your nerves, and then everything changes. I don't care how close you are, how, you may knew each other before, but if you're a real competitor, when it comes down to it, it's every man for himself.
And I think another thing as well is when you start to see people winning stuff, or you start to see stuff happening, you feel... at least for us, we felt that we knew our place in this race. We knew where we stood. We knew that, this is how we would lose. This is how that we could win if we just played our game.
That's why everyone turned on you, because everyone saw you winning everything, was like, hey, we need to stop this. They're winning everything.
So that's what I think.
Yeah, I'm scared for Tyler and Corey.
That might happen with Tyler and Corey. If you look at them,
I don't think it's going to.
If they win the next two.
Yeah, me too, but I don't think it's going to. I don't know.
Second place and first place. I mean, that's...
I know they're likable and they got the biggest following, and you don't want to mess with Tyler's fans because they'll come at you. But listen, I'm gonna call it like I see it. And if they were on that race and they won, and they came in second, and then they won this one, and they win the next two. Let's say if they win the next two, there's no way there's gonna be like, listen, we got to get rid of these dudes.
So you think that if somebody had the possibility U-turn them, someone's going to use the U-turn?
Oh, I think in a heartbeat.
Oh, I think people are going to definitely use the U-turn.
I really hope so, because a season without it is so...
If Kurt and Brody are playing the game, if Kurt and Brody get to the board, they're going to U-turn.
Oh, yeah, I could see them using it, yeah.
And they're very aggressive, and Tyler and Corey are there to play the game as well. I could see him getting to the board and just saying, sorry, gone. I could definitely see them using it.
Especially after the non-elimination thing. I was like, yes.
All right. So, thoughts of the episode, overall thoughts of the episode?
I thought it was great.
Yeah.
I loved it.
I didn't know how it would be like after being on the race and doing it and then watching it the next season when it's not you.
Mm-hmm.
But like all my friends and family are still watching it. They're into it. They're still talking to me about it, which is exciting. I'm really enjoying it. I love I love the teams. I love my picks. They came in first, second, and ninth.
I love the
so
teams.
I love that Tyler and Corey came out on top, and Kurt and Brody came out in second, and that Scott and Blair were able to overcome a speed bump to stay in the race. I mean, that's
moved up.
incredible. So I was nervous last leg, and I was excited to have them fight and stay in.
Yeah, for this leg, I loved watching it. The episode, it was cool to see people mess up on tasks. Like it wasn't just a hey, get there and it's a certain amount of time and you're just gonna leave.
Yeah, people pass.
There's a chance to mess up and a chance for people to pass people at both tasks, the detours and the roadblocks. I don't like when the detours are relatively that close to each other as they were, but I can understand it.
And no one switched, though, too.
Yeah.
Remember ours, everybody was just switching.
Oh, my gosh. Right.
Everyone just stuck to it.
That was kind of going to be like, I normally don't
it,
like it, but because nobody switched, it didn't really...
It goes back to earlier where I thought the episode was one of the better episodes that I've seen in a long time. So far, this season has really, really impressed me. Just because you have some really competitive people, and I thought the season was going to focus a lot on like, oh, we're Viners or we're YouTubers, and it doesn't, and I love it. So you have these people with great personalities that are able to get millions of followers on YouTube, but they're not shoving it down our throats.
Right.
And there's great challenges, there's battles for first, battles for last, and there hasn't been any roadblocks or detours that have just been like, meh.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a couple moments where you could say, hey, there's a couple people being loud or a couple being, shrieky voice or things like that.
But you know what?
But that's people. That's not...
Yeah, the thing is, no matter what, I feel like people are going to complain. Like, if you're loud, then people are going to say, like, you're so loud. And then if you're boring, people are going to be like, oh, you're so boring. If no matter what you do, there's always someone that's going to complain about it. So I just think that people need to give the season a chance by not watching it. You can't not watch the show. It's just gonna, it needs the ratings. It's so silly just to give it a chance.
You call yourself a fan and then do something to hurt the show you're a fan of. A fan is a fanatic. You will do anything to help the show.
And like the fun part for us is trying to extract something from each team that makes us identify with them in some way. Like even if they're married, we're married. What if we ran the race like them? Or they're really strategic. That's how we would race. Let's almost watch it through their eyes. But even teams aside, can't people appreciate the places and the things that they go to? It's just
and for saying there's no diversity on the cast, you're kidding me. This kid's from 19 years old to 60. There's black, Spanish, white, Asian. There's people from the north, south, east, west. They're all over the country.
Preach it, brother.
It's just like any other season. So get over yourself. I mean, if you're mad at the season, you're mad because you weren't going to give it a chance anyway.
Or they didn't
it's going really well so far. And from what I've heard from every producer and every person that I've spoke to, without editing, there was a race for first place and last place every leg of this season. So
that's so great.
Really looking forward to it. Who's going to be the next person eliminated? Krista.
Oh.
On the spot.
Only after
wait, Krista, I'm sorry. Dana's watching us from Moscow.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Hey, Dana.
Hey, Dana. I'm glad that we're keeping you entertained in the airport.
Oh my God, have so much fun. I was watching you dance in Belgium. So awesome. I love her. I love them.
Me and Diana are going to do the money dance.
Oh God, Dana, please teach them and me. Who do I think is going to be eliminated?
Who's next eliminated?
Based off the last two episodes, it's just my gut, Darius and Cameron.
Yeah.
I just can't. I can't see them picking it up that much to get through the next leg. I just feel like maybe their heart's in it, but they're just showing it a different way. It's too laid back for me.
They need some oomph. Like a little fight.
A lot of oomph.
Right, they need a lot of oomph and a little bit of fight.
Everything.
Superfan James Earl, with that eye of yours, who do you see going home?
Okay, with that eye of mine, here's who I think is going home. So if you've looked for next week's episode, like the info on the TV, they are staying in Colombia. And I'm pretty sure they're staying in Cartagena, if I'm reading correctly.
Cartagena.
Cartagena. So, Darius and Cameron were already at the back of the pack, and I think they're at the back of the pack by far. When a team starts that far back and it's in like the same same country, it is hard to make up time. Like no matter how good you are, it is hard to make up time. So I think even if they picked it up, it'd be hard for them to remain in the game. So Darius and Cameron are my pick for next out.
Oh,
Diana.
I already
You
said
agree?
Darius. Yeah, and that's one of your.
The saving grace for them?
I listen. They are my pick. They're one of my 3 picks, and I always believe in smarts. I believe that being intelligent is an advantage in every aspect in life.
Of course.
But I also believe that having some sort of street smarts is necessary, because you could be as book smart as you want, but life takes advantage of you, and I think that's what's going to happen here.
Especially in the race.
Life is going to take advantage of them here, and they are going to fall behind. So I think I'm going to lose my team next week. Darius and Cameron are going home. I think it's a clean sweep across the board.
Yeah, I feel bad for them. Like, that's so horrible. We're all like, they're going home.
All right.
Someone does go home, and all of us were eliminated at some point. So I think
I
we can call it.
I know, we're allowed to say it, right? We all had it.
Yeah. All right. Before we get out, do you guys see any questions online, or have you guys seen any questions that you guys want answered or think should be answered on our show?
I've been keeping an eye on it, and I haven't seen much. I think we try to answer things along the way. Like I said, if you're not watching this season, you need to be watching this season because it is a great one. And I have to admit, it's better than ours was at the beginning. And I hate to say that because I want to be like, no, ours was the best ever. But season 28's killing it. The racers are really good.
I agree. I am very entertained. On a side note, Krista, Justin's dad and stepmom are watching, and they said that they hope to see you on here again. They're from West Point. They live up in West Point, so they're New Yorkers, so they love having you on.
Yes. Remember when you met my mom?
Yes, yes. I want to talk more.
Maybe we'll have your mom on.
Oh God.
All right, so before we head out, we want to make sure you go subscribe to Keeping Up with Tiffany. Tell everybody what's going on with you, Krista.
Yeah, so me and Tiffany, now we have our own page. We have our own YouTube. We're teaching master classes throughout the U.S. We just finished up one in New York. So subscribe to Keeping Up with Tiffany. You could like our fan page and see what we're up to. Come dance with us. Diana, I want you to come.
When are you coming to Philly? I'm not a dancer, but I'll try.
She's not a dancer. I'm like, this girl did the tango upside down.
I know.
Like, stop. So did you, James Earl. Okay.
And also, before we go, I just want to give a quick shout out to Logan Saunders, who does the Yat and Cash podcast. He also does a blog, and he's very sarcastic, and he has a dry sense of humor, and he is a little more edgy than the other shows or recappers. But he has a good heart, and he really means well. And I just wanted to I know that, listen, you can't uncork something that's already been opened or whatever, however the term goes, the bottle. But he has a good heart, and he's a fan of the race, and he's one of the good people that I think would want to see the race continue.
His blog sticks up for us racers. Like,
at least it did for us. Definitely
did
for
in
us.
a backwards, sarcastic, this is what I'm going to rebut as the commenter.
Yeah, he makes fun of us, but then sticks up for us. But I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I kind of should have stuck up for him more, I think, publicly, because he was very good to us last year when a lot of people were coming at our throats. So just wanted to put that out there. So thank each and every one of you for watching us. All of our social media is down below. We would love you to follow along. There's a Patreon link down there as well. If you want to support the cause, we'd love some of that. Anything you guys want to plug before we head out, James Earl?
I can't say I'm doing like dance master classes, so I have nothing to plug.
I'm gonna plug your hospital.
Yeah, you teach first aid. You teach first aid classes.
James Earl does so much. I'll call him and he'll be working till 6 a.m. in the morning. But you plug away. You do a lot. Okay, my dancing doesn't compare to saving lives.
All right, so we really appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts for taking time out of your busy day to spend it with us. And if you really want to help out, click that like button. The little thumbs up helps out. The little subscribe button helps out. Sharing is caring. Just takes a couple little clickety clicks, no money.
Krista, what's your social media?
At Krista Kimberly. And my Instagram is at Krista_Kimberly. It's pretty easy.
Gotcha.
Boom.
All right, there you go.
All right, guys.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye. Good night.
Hate it. What do you say?
Bye.